Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at every Premier League club and find what managerial appointment immediately spelled the end for a club's fan favourite. Arsenal, Unai Emery, Jack Wilshere. Yeah, remember when Jack Wilshere was hailed as the next Arsenal god? Britain's very own answer to Andres Iniesta, a future Gunners captain ready to join the pantheon of England greats. It's just a shame his ankles were made of tinfoil. To be fair, the man was overhyped beyond belief. We should have listened when Pep Guardiola told the world that he could find 6 or 7 players just as good in Barca's reserves. You know what? He was probably right. Yes, the lad had been punted out on loan to Bournemouth during Arsene Wenger's last season in charge, but I assume that was just to boost his fitness and come back from injury. Get some games under his belt. Not necessarily an attempt to chuck him in the bin. Yeah, Unai Emery arrived in the summer of 2018, took one look at Wilshere, and after a single 15-minute chat, ended his 17-year stay in North London by sanctioning a freebie move to West Ham. 15 minutes to ruin a career, and I thought only Logan Paul was capable of that. Aston Villa, Paul Lambert, Darren Bent. Listen, Darren Bent was never going to get a statue outside Villa Park, but he was still highly rated at the club. He was a £21 million record signing from Sunderland, and yes, initially struggled with injuries, but still bagged 29 goals in 41 games. By contrast, after the same number of games, HITC managed 5, and still somehow ended up in the World Cup squad. Ruled out with injury for Euro 2012, Bent was ready to bounce back from injury. At 28 years of age, he was at the peak of his powers. And then Paul Lambert split his career in two. Succeeding Alex McLeish as the manager in the summer of 2012, he immediately relegated the club signing to the bench, instead putting his faith in the new Belgian arrival from Genk, the unknown Christian Benteke, who subsequently went on to smash over 20 goals. In about 5 minutes, Bent had gone from England international to sharing a bench with Barry Bannon, sentenced to winding down a fat contract stuck out on a bunch of pointless loan deals. Bournemouth, Eddie Howe, Joe Kufur. Okay, I'm literally going all the way back to the summer of 2008 for this one, for Eddie Howe's appointment as Bournemouth manager. Yeah, that's how long ago this journey began, right in the dregs of League 2. Former Arsenal reject Joe Kufur had only been there for 1 season, but he still bagged 13 goals in 48 games. Clearly not Howe's cup of tea though, chucking him out to Bristol Rovers. To be fair, it's not a bad price to pay for 3 promotions. Brighton, Sami Hyypiä, Leonardo Ulloa. Okay, to be fair, this wasn't really Sami Hyypiä's fault, but still, I couldn't find anyone else. Appointed as Brighton manager in the summer of 2014, it didn't help PPR's promotion bid that he was then forced to sell his top scorer within 10 minutes of arrival. Yeah, off Ulloa popped to Leicester for a club record £8 million, but let's be honest, it was probably more of a fault with the board than Hyypiä. Burnley, Eddie Howe, Graham Alexander. Remember Graham Alexander, a veteran Burnley right back with nerves of steel, even at the age of 37. That grizzled Viking lookalike was banging home 7 penalties in the Premier League. Despite being an unfashionable right back, this fella helped himself to 77 penalties over the course of his career, with a 90% success rate. He was only the second outfield player to reach 1,000 appearances in English football. Burnley fans loved him more than their kids. Anyway, Eddie Howe didn't do much during his 1 season at Burnley, but he did manage to chuck the captain in the bin, almost immediately releasing him in the summer of 2011. I'm guessing Burnley fans weren't too happy. Chelsea, Jose Mourinho, Juan Mata. Yeah, remember when Jose Mourinho returned to Stamford Bridge in the summer of 2013? In the eyes of Chelsea fans, he could do no wrong. Except this, Mourinho once spoke about his key players being untouchables at Chelsea. At the time, Mata was the very definition of this. In just 2 seasons, he scored over 30 goals, won 3 trophies, and was voted the club's player of the season both years. And yet, Mourinho dumped him to the bench, neglecting him in favour of Oscar, the golden boy, and then just sold Mata to Man United for £37 million. Chelsea fans were distraught. Crystal Palace, Roy Hodgson, Damien Delaney. Damien Delaney has spent 6 years at Crystal Palace. He was a no-nonsense centre-half, just 7 games shy of 200 games for the club. In his first season, the man had helped them to promotion, and was almost ever present in their back 4 during their 4 seasons back. In many ways, a definite fan favourite. And then Roy Hodgson happened. Clearly deemed the veteran defender unfit for business, picking him just once, which happened to coincide with Marouane Fellaini eating him for breakfast, bagging 2 in a 4-0 win at Old Trafford. Delaney was back in Ireland with Cork City within the year. Everton, Roberto Martinez, Victor Anichebe. Okay, let's get this straight. Victor Anichebe was a hopelessly inefficient centre forward and should have been flushed out of Everton years before this. But somehow, I don't know, maybe he had private photos of Moyes stuffed in his wallet, but somehow he managed to last 10 years at the club, to a point where his misses, his complete lack of goal-scoring threat, almost endeared himself to the Everton fans. Yes, 18 goals, 131 games is horrific, but just like Sean Amiobi at Newcastle, it sort of made himself a cult hero. Maybe it was because everyone knew there were probably at least 20 season ticket holders stuck on the ground that could have done a better job up front. He added a sort of human relatability to the club. Anyway, Roberto Martinez clearly hadn't received the memo that Anichebe was actually an endearing lump of human candle wax, and instead made it his first port of call to sell him to West Brom for £5 million. Leicester, Claudio Ranieri, David Nugent. David Nugent probably spends every waking minute crying about this decision. Had he hung on at Leicester for just 1 more year, he'd then have a laughably brilliant CV. Just like when he managed to fluke a goal for England. Just like how he managed to fluke an FA Cup winner's medal. Here, he could have ended his career a Premier League champion. David Nugent, the man who couldn't get a game for Pompey. But no, the fun-loving Leicester fan favourite. Popular with both fans and teammates. For God's sake, he was Jimmy Vardy's best man at his wedding. He was shipped out of the club after 4 seasons, about 5 minutes into Claudio Ranieri's reign. Claudio
Eddie Ranieri came in and he had a conversation with John Rudkin at the time and said, these are the players we don't want, and I was one of them.
Yeah, he went and got promoted at Middlesbrough, but still, hard luck, Nugent. Liverpool, Rafa Benitez, Danny Murphy. Yeah, I'm gonna go back 16 years for this one, when Rafa Benitez crash landed in Liverpool during the summer of 2004 and went about flinging popular fan favourites out the door. Danny Murphy had spent 5 seasons at the club, played nearly 250 games, lifted 6 pieces of silverware and scored 3 match-winning penalties at Old Trafford. That equals a free pint to Liverpool for the rest of your life. But clearly Benitez wanted an upgrade. In fairness, it was Xabi Alonso, and chose to flog Danny Murphy to Charlton for just £2.5 million. Pocket change. Man City, Pep Guardiola, Joe Hart. Yes, Joe Hart's career might be in tatters now, but the man is still a fan favourite at the club. For Christ's sake, he has a training ground pitch named after him. One of the few players to survive the cleansing of the squad post-takeover. Joe Hart had gone from featuring in nets when they were getting smashed 6-0 to lifting FA Cups and league titles. But Pep Guardiola had no room for sentiment, immediately stripping him of his #1 shirt, bringing in Claudio Bravo, and sending Hart's career into freefall. Man United, Louis van Gaal, Javier Hernandez. Louis van Gaal was ruthless. Christ, within 5 minutes of arrival, he was chucking popular homegrown lads to come through the ranks in the bin. But Javier Hernandez was one of the most popular figures at Old Trafford. Maybe it was because he always played with a smile on his face. Maybe it was because he'd arrived from nowhere. The babyface super sub, a Mexican reincarnation of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The man had a knack for bagging important goals off the bench. He'd already over 40 goals for the club and never once complained about a lack of starts. And then Van Gaal arrives in the summer of 2014 and immediately rolls his eyes after a botched Chicharito penalty, tells him he has a 1% chance of staying, and dumps him on the doorstep of Real Madrid on loan before flogging him permanently to Bayer Leverkusen the following year. If it was up to Man United fans, Chicharito would probably have a job for life. Newcastle, Rafa Benitez, Alexander Mitrovic. Well, I could go with when Graham Souness got rid of Newcastle hero Lorna Bear, but no, let's go back to when the arrival of Rafa Benitez in 2016 spelled the end for a fan favourite Alexander Mitrovic. Listen, the Serbian was a hero. A boyhood Toon fan, he'd already scored in the Time Weird derby, celebrated with a supporter, had his own theme tune. Remember Mitro on Fire? The fans loved him and craved a 2 up top strike partnership with Dwight Gale in the Championship. Benitez though did not. Probably saw him as a loose cannon, and so instead made him share a bench with Grant Hanley, and upon promotion chose to pick Hoslu instead of him, a man who played like a drunken horse. Newcastle were suffering from a shortage of goals, a striking crisis, and yet Mitrovic still got punted out on loan mid-season. Norwich, Daniel Farke, Cameron Jerome. Yeah, Cameron Jerome was well liked by Norwich fans. Farke though, arriving in the summer 2017, stapled him into the bench before sending him to Derby County halfway through the season. Sheffield United, Neil Warnock, Trinos Dilas. Okay, Trinos Dilas wasn't exactly going to be awarded the freedom of the city of Sheffield, but he was still popular during his 2 years at Bramall Lane, playing over 50 games, scoring twice from centre back, including a 30-yard pile drive against Portsmouth. Neil Warnock had no time for him though, and upon appointment in 1999, initially sent him back to Greece via AEK Athens, clearly unaware that he was flogging a future European champion. Southampton, Mauricio Pochettino, Jason Punchin. Yeah, Jason Punchin played less than 90 games for Southampton, but hey, the man found himself involved in 2 promotions, from League One to the Premier League, and played his best stuff in his final season. 32 games, scoring 6 goals, including during big results against Chelsea and Man City, and also chose to leave the pitch for 10 minutes to go and sit on the goddamn toilet. For that alone, the man became a cult hero. But his love for a mid-match dump wasn't enough to spare him another season under Mauricio Pochettino, who with his first proper transfer window just sold him to Crystal Palace. Tottenham, Juande Ramos, Jermaine Defoe. Juande Ramos did many things wrong at Tottenham. This was one of them. Let's get this straight. Jermaine Defoe was beloved at Spurs. He'd been there 5 seasons, scored over 60 goals, and here was the new manager, literally 2 months in the door, sending him to Portsmouth halfway through the season. Considering that club would have both their starting centre forwards ripped away by bigger clubs in the summer, clearly that man didn't have a lot of foresight. Watford, Malky Mackay, Tommy Smith. Tommy Smith was a Watford hero. He began his career there, he played across 3 divisions, over 300 games, 65 goals, and then Malky Mackay, 5 minutes after appointment in June 2009, just chucked him out the door to Portsmouth for just £1 million. West Ham, Alan Kirbishley, Marlon Harewood. Yeah, another cult hero, Marlon Harewood, had spent 4 years at West Ham, providing the fans with great memories, with pivotally crucial goals, like 23 in the Championship as they got promoted. How about a top-flight hat-trick against Aston Villa, a last-minute winner against Arsenal? And then Alan Kirbishley arrives, keeps them up and tells Harewood he can leave, spitting him out to Aston Villa for just £4 million. Wolves, Mick McCarthy, Keith Sol-hyun. Yeah, let's go back to Mick McCarthy's first season at Wolves, replacing Glenn Hoddle in July 2006, and instantly redeemed the club of popular Keith Sol-hyun. A top player for Wolves, but immediately sold to Reading for just £1 million. Alright, that's it, fellas. Let me know. Are there any nouns I've missed off the list? Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.